Welcome back to another episode of JailBreak Overlander. I'm Richie, and this is JailBreak. And this video is going to focus on what I do the most of. Driving. Driving over highways, driving off-road, driving in the summertime, driving in the spring. No matter what time of the year it is, I'm always driving. And I am very partial to the Nitto MUDGRAPPLER. Everyone knows that. But it was time for a change. And this is the tire I decided to swap to.
Yokohama!
If I'm going to swap out mud tires, there's no way I'm not going to test them out or do a head-to-head test. And I did. And the one place that I know of to test a mud tire better than any place else is smack dab in the middle of the Ozarks. In the wintertime, after it's rained out for several days. If you want to find out why I swapped out my mud grapplers, you're going to have to stick to the end of the video. But for now, sit back, relax, and check this out. I have spent a ridiculous amount of time off-road in the Ozarks. As you can see, I do not spare the skinny pedal. And that wore my tires down. So I took it to Ozarko in the middle of the Ozarks, and they showed me the X-MT by Yokohama. Same diameter, same width. The mud grapplers were a little heavier. Now the mud grappler is an incredibly aggressive tire. But the Geolander looked pretty similar. I mean, they looked incredibly aggressive, both tires. The Nittos are incredibly loud. It's like flying an airplane when you're driving this. There's no getting around that. And I was hoping the Geolander X-MT would be a little bit quieter, which on the highway it was. It weighed about, I think, 13 pounds less than the Mud Grappler, which was 97 pounds compared to 84. But otherwise, it was all pretty much apples to apples. It appeared. So they pulled the mud grapplers off. They put the MTs on. And I wanted to take these things out. Now the beauty of my system is I've got video footage of me doing the exact same trail that I'm going to test these Yokohamas out on. So I can basically see apples to apples. And I'm going to show that to you and you can make up your own mind. Plus, it's awesome off-road footage. Now this is what mud grapplers sound like on the highway. So you get it. This is what the Geolander sounds like. Yokohama Geolander mud terrains. So it's a hell of a lot quieter, by a lot. But let's see how they performed off-road in mud and rock. The first thing I did is air them all down to 18 pounds PSI, just like I always do with my mud grapplers. I want to keep this fair. And again, to keep this comparison perfectly fair, I took the truck to a track that I know of that I've been on a dozen times, and I know exactly how the truck performs in all weathers on this particular trail. I've been here before when it was cold, wet, and rainy, just like it was now. It was cold, wet, and crappy out, but still, I got out and set up cameras, drones, absolutely everywhere. This is going to be badass footage, so check this out. So I started out on a wet, muddy, rocky decline. Nothing I haven't done before. No problem. I tried to get the cameras on the tires as close as I could so you could see the tire doing its job. Not too bad. Nothing out of the normal. It was just like the mud grapplers. Now the ledge rock in the Ozarks is infamously slippery, and the trail was muddy and wet. Wet, wet, wet. There was no frozen ground here. If you stepped out, you lost your shoe. It was that muddy. So this was the perfect testing ground for what I wanted to do. Down this trail a piece is a huge mud track that is notorious for eating vehicles, and that's exactly where I was heading. This trail has to be somebody's official testing ground because it offers every type of terrain you could possibly want. Loose, rutted, washed out trails, declines, and then inclines. There's some fairly wide open spaces where you can really air it out, but some of the inclines are just treacherous. If you do not hammer down up these things, you're not going to make it. And rolling down backwards, they're way too steep. There's a great chance of rolling your truck. I wasn't about to do that. And if you listen closely, you can hear right here where one of my header gaskets blows out. This exhaust system has been the bane of my existence, and since putting the new engine and new headers in, it's only gotten worse. That video's coming. Okay, here's video I did during the summertime on an equally rainy, stormy day. This is the mud track that will eat your vehicle if you're not careful. This is back in the summertime. This is not now. If you'll notice, the water is very high. You can see that at the end of this track where the truck goes through about 4 feet of water crossing a stream. But with the mud grapplers on in this video, she blows right through the mud, no problem. And like you can see, the water's deep, but watch this. It gets even deeper. This trail was no joke that day. It was pouring out when I did it. Look, look at that. That's up to the windows. Yeah, screw hub deep. I'm up to the windows. So other than it not being raining, it was snowing. The conditions were almost identical. The water was running about a foot higher in the summertime video compared to today. This was during the summertime. It was raining out when I was doing the track. The water wasn't that deep, but the mud was just as bad. Now this is today. This is current. And this is how it looked when I did the track. Here we go with the Geolander X-MTs. And here's the whole run clean with just drone footage. No GoPro. So was this just a driver anomaly, operator error? I don't think so, because numerous times on the trail, the tires would clog up with mud like they did in this video right here. And trying to drive, it felt like I was driving on ice. Like the truck would get completely and totally out of control. The mud grapplers did not do this whatsoever at all. So the XMTs on their maiden voyage, I'm gonna say they failed miserably. I mean, they're way quieter than the mud grapplers, but you don't buy mud grapplers thinking these will be really quiet tires. Nobody says that. But the mud grapplers worked on sand, snow, rock, mud, no matter what, they always performed. These don't look too good. They're totally bound up with mud. The only saving grace I had is there was a bunch of trees close by, and I knew this, and I carry every type of recovery strap, pulley, block, etc. to get myself out, and it's a good thing I had them because it was going to take everything I had, including my high lift shovel, to get me out of this. This was no joke. My 16,500 pound red winch was no match for this stuff. It was not pulling it out. It wasn't coming out easy, I'll tell you that much. This was no joke. And it was going to be dark in an hour. Awesome. That took everything I had. 16,000 pound winch, max tracks, a shovel, Marlin crawlers, and Yokohamas. There they are. I'm gonna say those are broke in, I reckon. Took everything that 16,500 pound red winch could do, plus the Max Trax Extremes. I'm a lucky bastard that there was trees close by, but I knew that going in. Woo! How's that GoPro under there doing? A little muddy, looking good otherwise. Okay, so the patterns on the mud grapplers definitely disperse the dirt. They do not clog up like the XMTs do at all. Now, why did I get Yokohamas over Nittos? Because when I got to the tire place, they couldn't get Nittos due to COVID complications. With just 3,000 miles on these tires or less, I'm still going to go to a dealership around here and get a set of mud grapplers put on my truck right away. I'm not running these Yokohamas at all. The only thing they had going for them is they're a little bit quieter. The load capacity on the Nittos is 1,000 pounds greater than the Geolanders also. So there's that. At any rate, If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below, and I will return the favor. I am out.